Welcome to the BoomBox podcast, everybody.
Woo, woo.
Yes, sir.
First time trying this out. Don't know how it's going to go, but thought we would get some close buds in the house. So yeah, with BoomBox, like it's about connecting musicians to visual artists, yada, yada, all that stuff. What we really want, though, is just more community with the project. And I thought, let's get a podcast going with my coolest friends, and we'll have a conversation and hopefully inspire somebody. So that's what we're doing, hopefully.
You said your coolest friends, Brad? Oh my God.
Yeah, sorry to everybody who is on episode 2. You're my second coolest friends.
That's awesome.
But yeah, why don't we just introduce ourselves? Sam, you want to start off?
Yeah, I'm Sam Wells. I'm a musician, both in a solo project and also in a band called Friendly Thieves. And it is really, really good to be a cool friend for your first episode, man. That's awesome.
My name's Njenga. I'm a cool friend of Brad and I'm a local filmmaker, director, editor, writer of music videos and short films.
Yeah. All right. My name is Paris Williams. I'm a rapper, producer, do a lot of different things from Muskegon, Michigan. So, yeah.
Local
I like that
goat.
you put in your city,
Yeah.
too. You said I'm from Muskegon, Michigan.
I always got to. People think I'm from KC, but I got to rep the town, you know?
You forgot pop star. You're a pop star.
Something like that.
Okay.
Some people call me that.
What was Muskegon like? What's the population? What's the vibe?
I'm not sure the exact population because there's like Muskegon County and then there's like Muskegon the place. But it's like a relatively small town. People usually like drive through there or you go there to go to like some of the beaches and stuff because we're on the coast, you know? But yeah, not a lot of like things to do as far as like art and creative stuff. So that's why I came out here.
Yeah, hence
That's how you ended up in KC.
Yeah.
How did you guys end up in KC?
Oh, are we all not from Kansas City?
I'm from Topeka originally, and then went to
shoot.
school in KU in Lawrence. So I've only been in KC for like 3 or 4 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
You're both from KC?
I'm from Arizona.
Oh,
like
oh,
originally
really?
from
Oh.
Alamosa, Colorado, but I grew up in AZ, and so I moved here about 7 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And after going back this like last 2 weeks that I went to go travel around, I was like, man, I actually really love Kansas City.
Really?
Yeah, it's really nice.
Hell
It
yeah.
is.
That's awesome.
I'm from Johnson County. So
Okay.
basically,
Okay. Right on.
Classic.
Okay.
yeah.
Quintessential
Iconic.
Kansas City.
So is KC like a flyover place, or is it the coolest city with the coolest people and the coolest friends? Like everybody always gives so much love to LA, New York City, Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
But here we are sitting with amazing creators. So what is it about KC that y'all love?
I love that it's a big city and you still get like the creativity and diversity of those big cities, but you also get like just the niceness of like the Midwest. Like people
Yeah.
are nice and kind. I've worked with LA people. They're douchebags.
Yeah.
Oh.
The people are still going to hold the door open for you in Kansas City.
Facts.
That's like the littlest pet peeve I have being a Midwesterner. If somebody doesn't open the door, does that bother you guys?
If they don't open it, it's fine. But if they're opening
But
it and they
don't
don't
hold it.
hold it,
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
like,
I mean.
I'm shuffling so fast. Can you just give me one more second?
They
Yeah.
close it, you say something passive aggressive. You're like, thanks, bud. Thanks.
I go, oh, my bad. I'm trying to sneak through the door. They leave it, and I go, oh, that's my bad for trying to enter the door. God.
Yeah.
I think that my initial, when I first moved to Kansas City, I was really bummed about it. I'm
Really?
not going to lie to you. I was genuinely like, I don't want to go to Kansas. But I didn't realize that Kansas and like Kansas City proper
Right.
or like that like metropolitan area is totally different.
Yeah.
And where people I think would classify Kansas City as like a flyover state because it's just like flatlands. Once you get in here, you're like, oh, it's like dope. It's
poppin',
It's
yeah.
pretty dope here.
Totally.
I don't know that I would want to move anytime soon.
Yeah. And also with the internet and, if you're able to travel, you can still collaborate with people on either coast. Like I
Yeah.
know, Paris, you've got connections with collaborators in California and, the UK even, right?
Yeah. The homie Medici, he's lived out there forever. We've known him since I was like a kid, pretty much, you know. So since I was like 12 or 13, I've just been tapping in with people on the internet. But yeah, I definitely think Kansas City is a great place to be. Like Ryan was saying, you get like the creative scene, but you also can, slow down, take things at your pace if you want to. And just in this next couple of years with like the sports teams and the World Cup and all that stuff, I feel like it'll be like a hot spot for a lot of people coming through.
Damn,
So-
did we just leak that? Has that been announced?
Oh.
Did Paris
The
just
World Cup.
announce the Olympics in Kansas City?
Yeah, insider info right there.
There we go. He's really plugged
BoomBox
in.
exclusive. But yeah, they're just planning a lot of stuff in the city and the new airport. I was just there last night.
Yeah.
It looks
Oh, was that
crazy.
cool?
It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Very modern.
Yeah.
Man, I've seen pictures. It looks crazy.
It does.
Yeah.
Did you know that you know Psych at all? The one who like was curating all of the artworks that were put into there? Oh my gosh. They just like spent 5 years really curating, and like half of the work that's in there is from like Kansas City
Really?
locals, and then the
That's
other half
fire.
they outsourced. But man, if you can go in and just like tour, 10 out of 10.
It
would
looks nuts.
recommend.
What's the big like silver thing? I keep seeing pictures of this big
Oh,
like
it's a fountain. It's
a
like an
fountain.
electronic fountain made
the
out of
city
lights.
of fountains.
Yeah, see what they did there. But they did it in like a light show so that you never have to run out like through like the plumbing issues, and it's never going to smell bad because fountains typically smell rank inside buildings.
Yeah. You're the fountain expert.
I am. Yeah, sorry, musician and fountain expert.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes, plug that in.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I want to ask you guys. So it's hard to get something finished, right? But you're all people who, new bands, 2 new short films, new EP, and we've got a lot of musicians and creative people in the BoomBox community that, probably are sitting around wondering, how do I start my album? Or I've got this idea for a film, but I don't have a camera or a friend who can help me. How do you guys push through points in a project that either become hard to motivate yourself or begin to doubt yourself? Like, how do you work through to actually arrive at a place where the art is out and public facing? Anybody?
Ooh.
Go first.
One
Yeah.
thing, so, let's go to Paris, because
Yeah.
one thing I love about Paris is your work ethic. Like,
Thank
you're
you.
hands down like one of the hardest workers I know.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
And it just doesn't seem hard for you to finish something, put it out, bravely into the world, but also work through all the logistical challenges to get there. Like, how do you let us into your process there a little bit?
First off, thank you. That was very kind. Yeah, I think everyone here is very very driven, strong work ethic, and so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
What I'll say is just like, you just kind of got to stick through it, through the ups and downs, and know where like your end goal, wanted to be, and just continue, because life gets in the way, job or family stuff or whatever comes, you know what I mean? And having good people around you as a support system to keep you going, I think is very key. So
Very key.
yeah,
That's a good point.
that wasn't the best answer, but
It was absolutely the best answer.
He's so flattered that
Yeah.
it's hard.
yeah, for sure.
You're looking right at me when you said best people in your life. So
Yeah, for sure. It's important to have a community, especially like when you're a small independent creator, like just having people like Ryan to help you shoot videos and get like the ideas right, having Brad to just help with like the infrastructure, and Sam to sing on songs and get like the vocals correct and bring the song to life. Like definitely tap in with your community and see what you can do.
I would say
Community.
it's pretty impossible to do on your own. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it is impossible, but it's like the toils that you experience when you're trying to navigate all of the nuance that comes from like trying to put out art on your own.
Yeah.
I truly don't think that it's feasible and sustainable to have to do it on your own like for a long time. So I definitely want to jump with Paris. It's just having a community and really knowing when to ask for help. So like for me, I love that you think that I'm able to put out stuff pretty frequently. My last album though was out in 2021. Like that's
Okay, but
that's
you've
so
got-
long ago.
you've got-
But I have been working on it. But I
Got a
have
new
been working on
band.
projects. Yes.
You left from a gig an hour ago. Like, don't play like you're not out here.
No, you're right. But like the question surrounding like how do you stay motivated and how
Yeah.
do you continue to like push through that? So right now I'm recording an album for both the band and for my solo stuff. But even then it feels like it's slow moving. And so really having that like outside perspective to be like, we're still excited about this. You're still making those moves, like pushing you and and people asking like, hey, we want to hear that tune. I can't remember how many times I bothered Paris about like, when's that tune coming out? I would see him perform and I'd be like, I'm really jazzed. I'm ready for it to come out. And I think just really surrounding yourself with people like that will motivate you. Yeah.
I'm sure you run into that on a set all the time, Ryan. Like, I've been on a couple music videos, enough to know that filming something is like on a completely different level than most artistic endeavors. It takes lights, actors, a script and pre-production and
Lots of money.
all kinds of
Things are expensive.
But like for you, when you're trying to push through motivational challenges, you might have 10, 20 people relying on you to come through. Do you find that to be invigorating, or is that like, what is that like for you on days when you don't feel like doing something?
I find with one thing I love about Casey is the film community, very supportive, and we all have each other's back. And even when I have those moments where I'm like, I'm mentally drained, I don't know what to do next. I know, like, I collaborate a lot with Jake Schermerhorn and Samuel Bricker. They're both, cinematographer and producer. And whenever I'm feeling out of it, they always have my back, and they always have like, oh, we could try this, or we could do this. That's really what gets me through. And I think we're all there for each other to keep just pushing out the next best product.
It seems like the easiest, like, it's like, just ask for help. Everybody's pretty much like, just rely on your homies, ask for help.
Yeah.
But it does make me wonder though, because, okay, Paris Williams might have 10 people operating on a project, but it's coming out as Paris Williams. Sam Wells might have a photographer helping, an engineer doing something, somebody playing a studio, session, but it's still a Sam Wells project at the end of the day. So when you're the one, with the name on the project, like, where's the hill to die on when working with collaborators, where it's like, no, this is my baby. It has to, like, you're in charge of the essence of it. So when you're working with people, it can be challenging sometimes if other people are bringing ideas to the table in a very strong way. How do you guys manage that type of collaborative atmosphere where it's like, this is me, but also I want to include other people?
That's a good question.
I love that.
Then should you go first?
Oh, shit. Am I allowed to cuss on this podcast? My bad.
Oh, it's fine.
It's really interesting because that's something I was battling a lot 2 years ago.
Really?
Because I was working with brilliant people who are infinitely like better than me technically at like what they're doing. I love it. I'm like, surround me with people who are talented all day, because it pushes me to want to be better, right? But when I'm working with people who I know have like the technical proficiency, but I've got a vision, and I have to be like, hey, you have your degree in this, I respect it, but also like, can we do this? Or like, I'm looking for this. I think it's really just sitting in the ownership of it. Yeah. Like, if you are the one that's like the driving force, you're the one that's like putting up all the money for it. You're the one that's like having to navigate different schedules and all the people. Like, it's worth standing your ground and your vision. And so I think there's something that comes from being a creator that like inherently is, you have ideas, you have this essence, you have something that you're trying to produce. And so I think a lot of it is just standing in that like ownership of what you're creating.
Yeah, that's beautifully said.
I also feel like as an artist, one thing I always like to do is, when I'm making something, I make sure I live in the world for a long time. So I have a good sense of like what this needs, or what I need from this, and also making sure, I'm blanking on what I'm saying. But also leaving certain gaps there, so like those collaborators can kind of feel their voice in, so they still feel like they're getting something from this,
I know what you mean totally. It's like if you're writing a song and you want a saxophone part or something, but you're not a saxophone player, you're like curating the vibe by wanting that instrument there, but in the back of your head you're going to need someone else to elevate it to a space that does justice. So like when you're making a film, are you thinking, I know I want this to look a certain way, but I'm going to leave space for Jake to come in and do his thing? Like, is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah. Like, I'll say like with writing a script, I'll map out the story in my head before I write anything down. So that way when it's out, it's kind of perfect. Like this is exactly what I want. Yeah. But like when we're on the day, and I'll make a shot list too. And when we're on the day, whenever he has like an idea of like, oh, what if we did this in slow-mo, or some shit like that, I'll let him go at it. Right. And with Jake too, it'll always be like better than what I expected. Like that's what we did with Wish You Were Here. It's like, I never did slow-mo before. That was one example, and I was like, that feels like a music video. I feel like you can't do that. But dog, that shit's the sickest shot in that movie.
Totally nailed it, because like I've been on a few sessions with you doing vocals, and I'll be like, I'll go into being like, the melody and the harmony are going to be like this or that, and Sam will be like, what if we did this? And I'm like, yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that. You know, like sometimes you just got to let people be good at what they're good at and let it totally change the art, you know?
Well, there's something too of like when you're the people that you're inviting into this, like this world that you're creating, like there's a level of trust that you're offering them. And I fully understand and believe in they can make it better if you let them kind of run.
Yeah.
So there's like that nuance of, yeah, it's your vision, but like try everything once. If you got the time, try it. My band's whole motto is like, we'll try it at least once. And like you would be surprised about what you can come up with when you create the space.
Paris, how about you, man? You're always working with collaborators. What's your approach?
I think for me personally, I do kind of view it more as like curation. So I just try to find people who I think are great at what they do and let them be them, kind of keep them on track a little bit and still like let it, fit my vision. But yeah, I think working with great talented people is definitely like the best way to start, and allowing them to just do what they do naturally, so they can come out and you guys can create something new together. That'd be a good segue. Let's talk about Hopscotch a little bit, because Ryan did the video. Yes, sir.
How did you guys meet? What was the catalyst for the conversation to do Hopscotch?
I was actually a fan of Paris for a while because me and Jake were writing a movie and we were trying to put in as many local artists, and we had a few of his songs in there. And then we did an interview with Shuttlecock Magazine, and I found he was going to be the guest. And while I liked his music, like he was my favorite guest on that show, because he just kept pulling out classics. Like what was it, Lauryn Hill, College Dropout. I think Outkast is what did it for me. That was a good select. Really? I was jealous I didn't get that one.
Yeah, there's like some UGK, just random stuff too.
You know what's crazy? Shout out to Shuttlecock, because that's how I learned about Paris as well. And Aaron Rhodes in general, shout out to Shuttlecock. Aaron grinds to cover the scene, and like a lot of people don't realize that a scene isn't just about the people performing. It's not about the fan. It's about, the journalists, the photographers, and everything. And Aaron has always done an amazing job. So I learned about Paris via Shuttlecock as well. That's so funny that's like the connection.
It always comes back to Aaron. I actually went to high school with him.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I remember him starting Shuttlecock, and him just seeing that turn into what it is inspirational.
Yeah, mad respect.
Yeah, he's another person with like crazy work ethic.
For sure.
Sounds like you know who you need to have on your week too.
Yeah, right. My second coolest friends.
Aaron, you available? Awesome.
But so had you been familiar with Ryan's work, or how did that come together?
Yeah, I think I'd heard of his name. I wasn't really familiar with any of his like films and stuff like that until we met, and then I went and kind of like, I'm just being honest. So I went back and did some research, but yeah, I feel like it's very rare that you meet people and you just kind of like connect right away, but we definitely had that. And then, Sam and Jacob were also there, and they worked on the video as well. They work on a lot of stuff together. They're just like a great team in general, honestly. So, How do you, when you're making a video for an artist, I mean, that's a perfect example of like, you come in, you're trying to represent Paris's music, but you're trying to bring your own flavor to it. Like, how does that conversation go, especially from the filmmaker's perspective, when it's kind of your role to, make this thing look good and feel good, but also do what Paris wants you to do? You know what I mean? Like, how does that go?
We always want to have discussions with the artists and kind of go through their catalog to get an understanding of their aesthetic. My biggest thing is I want to definitely stay true to their voice, but just add a cinematic lens to their work. So yeah, like with Hopscotch, me and Paris just had some discussions about the vision. We went through a few ideas before landing on this kind of just him and his friends kind of I'm forgetting the video.
The bicycles.
I'm riding through the city, the studio setup, and the radio interview. And yeah, from there it was really just me, Jake, and Sam kind of talking over ideas and seeing how we can like make these shots more beautiful, or editing wise, how can we make stuff pop out? The video's amazing. It's so dynamic. There's like the homies mobbing through on the bikes and motorcycles, and then there's like almost like Busta Rhymes era goofiness, like with the fake bag of money, and like what's the effect where you're on like the world or like the
that's sick.
It's all over the place, but in a very cohesive way.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
For sure.
From pre-pro, like when you guys connected to like final shoot day, how long did that process take you?
That's a good question.
Honestly, I don't even remember.
So was it like long enough where you're like, yeah, we've been pulling this, so we're gonna make sure, or like did
It wasn't like
flow
too
pretty
long,
easy?
honestly, but yeah, I was just like doing a bunch of stuff at the time, so I was getting like the project like mixed kind of, working with him on different ideas, trying to set up just like, yeah, I was just moving around at that time, so it's all kind of a blur.
I'll zoom in a little bit, like
Yeah.
your actual shoot days.
Oh, okay.
Was it just one, or did you do it over like a span of time?
I think it was like 2-3 days over like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of misnomers, myself included, and I've been in the like scene in the network for a while, but like there's a lot of information about like how long stuff like this takes and like what actually goes into
Yeah.
it. It's like when you're trying to book and you're like, I want to shoot a music video, and you're like, cool, it's gonna look like this, it's gonna take this long, it's gonna cost this much money, and people are like, what?
Yeah.
And like the like pre-pro and like actually executing everything, like the stuff that goes into that is insane.
Oh man, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Filming things is like on another level. I feel like. Yeah. Well, Sam, let's talk about Friendly Thieves,
Oh, sweet.
you had put out music as Sam Wells.
Yeah.
You got a new band now.
Yeah.
You dropped a single in October, right?
Yes.
What's going on with that band?
Oh, dude! Actually, next weekend we're going to Arkansas and we're filming the rest of the album.
Really?
We're
Let's go.
I say we're filming. We're recording and we're filming. So
Oh,
we're doing
cool.
it like Wolfpack in DIY,
Sick.
very docu style.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to get this done in 4 days. Situation. So that's really exciting. Right, the last month and a half we've been working on our like tour van because we bought a random red velvet van from Facebook Marketplace and are revamping it to go on tour this summer.
That's fire.
That's crazy.
that's sick.
It's
Fire.
great. I'm like, I can't believe I get to be a part of something this insane. But the guys are so incredible. We've got, I'm just going to name them because they would be really mad if I didn't on the podcast. But Jamie Breeze is our electric guitarist, and he's
Yeah.
just like nuts. When I say surround yourself with people who are better than you, icon him,
Yeah.
Jamie Breeze. Sam Millard is on our bass, and he probably writes every single song. He like comes together, and the way that you would imagine bass is nowhere near what he's doing. He's like taking guitar lead lines and throwing them on the bass and then saying, this is our melody, this is our underlick, and we're going to do this the whole time. I'm like,
Dang.
tell me what to do and we
Sir,
will
yes,
do
sir.
it. Yeah, it's just brilliant. Our drummer is John Goss, and he is actually from California. So when you were like, are people from California? I'm like,
Oh, my bad.
you're not wrong. No, he's actually lovely. He's lovely. He's the person that like brings all the funk into the
okay.
project. So when we started, we were very like punk rock, alternative, and he came in and he was like, what if? And it was perfect. It was exactly the direction that we needed to go. And then our newest member is Ben Baker, and he plays literally every wind instrument or woodwind brass instrument you could think of. And so on the project, he plays mostly like a bari sax, and then a tenor sax, and an alto sax, and a flute, and a clarinet, and even some bass, because he's just insane too. So
Yeah.
once we added him into the project, it was like full form, ready to package and produce and send
Yeah.
off. And so it's been insane. Snowball. Yeah.
Band sounds amazing. The musicianship is like incredible.
They're so
and
good.
also shout out to Cody, who's
Yo.
filming right now. If you haven't heard Friendly Thieves, Sam's band, go check out the Coop session, which Cody and his
Yes,
team
please.
filmed. And yeah, it's interesting like watching a live performance, and I'm curious to hear from all of you, but you know, when you're recording music, you want the final song to sound like, you know, X, Y, and Z, but you're bringing something totally different in a live atmosphere, and probably the same with screening, you know, holding like a screening for a film. What are you being intentional about to give somebody experience wise in a live setting versus what you're being intentional about like in a recording situation?
Paris, can you actually jump on this one? Because I went to one of your live shows and I was blown away. So I'm going to see if you say it first.
Okay. Thank you. First off, when I'm like writing or producing, or I just keep certain things in mind, like how I want the bass to sound out of like the speakers, or when I'm writing a chorus, what I think would make people connect, but also like, you know, is easy enough for them to scream at me on the first or second time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just keeping those little earworms and stuff, and like keeping the spacing so your breath control is right. You're not gassed on stage. There's a lot of little different things that I learned from performing for the first time, and my new EP, Rebel Heart, is kind of like me figuring all that stuff out. So, yeah.
Okay.
Can I just throw out, you did a show over at the Black Box Theater that I like stumbled into. It might have been for Mannerfest. Is that what it was for?
Yes.
Okay. Stumbled into it. And the way that you had curated like your audience participation, you'd brought like roses on stage that like you were
That's
able to
kinda
then
my thing,
in the pockets of your instrumental, like leave the stage and pass them out to your audience. And my brain was like, write that down, write that down. So good. Because you really like made it interactive and invited us into a space where like, not only are we here to like witness you doing your thing, but then also we get to take ownership of like being present with you.
Yeah.
It was so good.
And also you're thinking, there's a limited amount of roses. Paris.
We're like, give us a rose over here. No, it was incredible. And like truly, I think the like artistry that goes into like that planning is like just so refined.
Thank you. That means
Really
a lot.
cool. Yeah.
That means a lot. Thank
Well
you so
done.
much.
I was like, I'm ready.
I have seen you very gassed on stage, though.
Yeah.
Not to toot your own horn too much over here.
No, it happens, as you
You're
learn,
like, bring
you
it
gotta, no, you gotta put in those reps, really learn and like, figure out the sequencing. Like you can't do 2 really hype songs back to back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go crazy. Yeah.
Alternatively, I like to sing while I work out. And like while I'm doing like cardio and stuff to like make sure that I can maintain because with Friendly Thieves, I'm running, we're full throttle like the whole time.
Okay.
And so I would love a little more planning where maybe we just have some pockets of the guys can take an instrumental. I'm going to go chill out, but
put some solos in there.
they do. Oh,
Okay.
they do.
Wait,
but I'm
wait.
just like,
Yeah.
while it's happening, it's fine.
I feel that.
So are there considerations with film screenings, or are you thinking people are going to be watching this on YouTube in their homes, or are you thinking I want to have like 100 people to a film screening? Is that like a different experience for them, or is that really a consideration for you?
With putting the work out, it's always been YouTube focused and in film festival, but more recently I've come to appreciate I envy you guys because I really do envy musicians and getting to have that live performance kind of aspect to your craft. So one thing I want to do is more screenings to kind of have that human to human connection with the art.
Yeah. That's how I met you, actually. It was at a live screening of Hopscotch and Wish You Were Here.
Yeah.
And it was it was like one of my favorite evenings in the last couple of years. Like such a great time. And to be able to do the Q&A and hear from you guys and like meet people, it just adds a completely different layer. But props on that night. That was like a really fun.
Thank you. Yeah, I went to his Wish You Were Here screening for the first time. That's kind of how I got familiar with his work.
Yeah.
I was blown away. And
please watch Wish You Were Here.
Definitely. Kind of wanted to do the same thing when we did Hopscotch. Just it was all free. Invited like 50 homies out or so, and just wanted to provide them a space to get acquainted with each other and mingle and make new connections and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Do you think that there's a lot of like opportunities for that in Kansas City, like a locale venues to like host things like that? Do you have that kind of access?
Yes, there's. I was shocked with how many venue options there were and how kind of open they are. Because we did ours, the most recent one at Glenwood. We did the Wish You Were Here at Screenland Armor, and then Hopscotch at Stray Cat Theater. And even past that, I've had other theaters and other venues like hit me up saying, "Hey, if you're ever doing another thing, like hit us up."
They were hitting him up. That's cool.
Little
Look at
flex.
you go.
Little flex.
Like,
But yeah, it's no, the community's very welcoming. I love it. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Sam, anything you're bringing to a live performance that you're not?
Yo.
Yeah. Besides a looper pedal?
Well, so like my solo performances versus like anything with the band, 2 completely different worlds. And I have to map them out that way. So when I'm thinking about I'm going to be on stage for an hour, everyone's just looking at me. How can I give them an experience that will not only like keep them engaged, but like make them want to come back and do it again and do it again and do it again. And so the entire like planning for those types of set is totally different. I actually took notes when you passed out the flowers, and I had a Folly set like
Really?
2.5 weeks later, and I went out and I bought little candles that I could put on every person's seat. So I was like, when you feel like you're in it, when the music hits you, turn on your candle.
That's
and
fire.
it was both. I think her name is Paige Turner, did something like that for like a a so far sound set. And hers was like when a lyric like resonates with you, light your candle, turn it on.
I like that.
And I just love the idea of like being able to not only connect with your audience and give them opportunities to meet up with you, but like me on stage getting to see when things resonate.
Yeah.
It was so powerful.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And it made me think of something way dumber.
Oh, tell me.
I went to an emo show recently for a friend's birthday, and it was like a big production emo show, and I haven't seen, you know, that type of music on stage in a while. And but like after one of the songs, the lead singer was like, "All right, we're gonna try something. Everybody, on the count of 3, I want you to crack your knuckles all at the same time." And it was like nothing I've ever heard. Like 500 people cracking their knuckles at the same time.
Incredible.
But still like fun audience engagement. I think banter and like being able to do it on stage totally changes the way live performance feels. You
All
know?
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's I found that there's people who will go to live concerts that are also like hearing impaired, which I don't know how that plays into like what kind of experience you're getting.
Yeah.
But so now on my website, I've got like a see the songs tab so that when people go through and like my set, I'll just update it with whatever the order is of the songs, and they can like read through the lyrics, which both forces me to write songs that are like visually engaging, like as you're like as a reader, but then also like just opportunities for the audience to connect and like feel included in the spaces.
Man,
That's amazing that you do that.
considerate creator. Yeah.
Well, I'm like, I have high consonant value hearing loss, and I love going to shows, but I never would think about that until it like is a part of, man, I've got friends that like have huge hearing impairments, and I want them, they're still coming out, they're supporting me. So how can I like keep them engaged and invited? But it's totally different than with a band. And that is a world that I would love to I could talk about for hours, but we were curating the single release show, and every single piece of it was like, how do we make it both feel like it fits the campaign of our album, because our album has a secret campaign, but then also not giving everything away because it's only one single. So all of that takes a lot of time and like storyboarding, and, which I was like, why are we storyboarding for an album? But it's incredible, really fun.
So I'm just curious, with you know, you guys have grown a lot, obviously, in the last few years. And, you know, what's a piece of advice you would give yourself as a creative person 3-5 years ago? You know, things you may have learned recently. Like what's one thing that sticks out that you wish you would have known?
Those feel like two different questions. I'm so sorry. Do you want one thing that sticks out that we wish we would have known, or like advice that we're going to give to our past selves?
Yeah, like one thing that sticks out that you've learned that you would love to impart on your past self if you could.
I got you.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you for clarifying.
And I'm looking for a co-host. So you want to keep me in line with these jumbled questions, that'd be great.
I love it. Cool friends.
If I could give myself advice to like 2018 me, I would say just focus on, because I do consider myself a writer first, is just honesty in the presentation and what your brand is and who you are as an artist. I feel like earlier on because I had in high school I made like 8 short films because I had like a free period, so I was like doing a bunch of shit, but I feel like I was doing too much. That's one thing I would give advice to, and just to any artist, just be yourself.
So doing a little bit less, but making sure that what you are working on is more authentic to who you are.
Facts, because that'll be the most impactful both for you and for the audience.
Yeah, good point. Dang.
Bars.
Sweet. Oh, you want me to go? This is really pointed for myself, but like perfect doesn't exist. And like good and done is better than perfect and in your pocket.
So true. So true.
There's a lot of stuff I held on to and I didn't put out, and I like waited and waited until I hated it because I couldn't get it right. And after I like released that, I released it from my grip, not released it out into the world.
Yeah.
And like finally started sharing it. People were just like, I want it exactly like this. I don't care if you're trying to polish it. I just want to be able to hear it in my home. And that's really like for musical creators, just put it out there.
Yes. Great advice.
Yeah, those are both 2 great points. For me personally, I would say things sometimes take like a little longer than you may think when it comes to just any part of the process. So, you know, just stay consistent, stay focused, and in a couple of years, like you'll look up and see what you've built. But just stay honed in.
Definitely. And kind of like constantly defining your own interpretation of what success means. I know that's something we've talked about a lot, Paris, and it's like, you know, if you would have told yourself, you know, 3 years ago that you would have these EPs and this video and, you know, streams all over the world and all, like, you would be like, wow, I made it. I actually did it. But it's so easy to fall into the grip of always wanting more, always feeling like you need to level up to continue to be, you know, an excellent creator or something, but like not putting so much. That's probably my advice for myself, is to not, thank you for therapy, is to not put so much damn pressure on yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and just let it evolve, like you're saying, staying focused, but letting it naturally evolve, letting it be released when it's time, you know, being true to yourself and staying focused. Man, do I got to pay you guys for this?
$2K. I mean, no.
That was a real good way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
You brought everybody's points together.
Yeah.
Kudos.
That's beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thanks for throwing in your opinion too.
Yeah,
For sure.
We want to hear that.
Shout out to, let's just plug our projects real quick in like 30 seconds. Where can we find you? What are you working on?
Paris Williams at Popstar Paris on all social media. Just dropped Rebel Heart EP. Coming out with the video soon. Kind of on like a little press run right now, but expect more music, visuals, and clothing and stuff this year. So yeah,
So good.
thank you.
Ryan Njenga, you can find me at Ryan Njenga and at Njenga Films. Njenga is spelled with an N, and then like the
Will you
game,
spell the whole thing?
Njenga. Njenga.
Yeah.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, we got a new visual with Paris coming out pretty soon for London, Tokyo. And then we are in pre-production for 2 short films shooting in the next month. Happy Milk, which is very David Lynch-esque story I'm really excited for. Okay. And then BF, which is by a local actress who's a fucking genius, Jamie Addison.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
I'm Sam Wells. You can find me everywhere at Who is Sam Wells. And the band that I'm in is called Friendly Thieves. And we are going on tour. So definitely follow us and come out and see us wherever you are. We'll probably be hitting your city in a really weird velvet red van. It's great.
Please follow all these wonderful, talented people. Shout out to Cody Boston for filming.
Coop sessions.
And for real, hit up BoomBox. Like, we're working really hard to, you know, help empower musicians with great artwork, with great photography. Anything you might need, we're here to help. So hit us up. Thanks for listening to the first episode. These are my coolest friends. Bye, everybody.
Peace out.